Hey there, all you internet trolls, celebrities, and otherwise unrecognized potential. Today I'm going to briefly talk about one of the most important things in the universe, me! Well, not me, but more my N7 journalism segment. Um, Real quick, I'd like to mention, ignore the obviously blaring and boring background, and otherwise kinda irritating video effects as this video plays out. I'm testing out my new editing software, and I'm going to use this video to play with the videos. That sounded redundant. But anyways, you see, it's time I got down to business and start doing what I set out to do with my portion of this YouTube channel. I created this segment to talk about news and the most important kind of news at that, video games. Every once in a while, I'll throw in a movie and even do some reading and critique a book. But for the purpose of this video, I'll be explaining the breakdown of my rating system for video games. All too often you see games getting 9 out of 10 ratings on professional industry websites like IGN, G4, or GameSpot, and the most ridiculously unprofessional opinions for them. Don't get me wrong, these kinds of sites are still my first go-to source for gaming news, but I'm sure you, as well as I, find yourself questioning, what exactly is we giving out stars for anyways? On today's segment, I'll be breaking it down into 5 categories, each rewarding a star. Category 1. The most important characteristic of any video game is entertainment value. If the game is not entertaining, people won't play it. As well, time and time again, I find myself blasting away in sandbox games like Crackdown, even though most other aspects of the game are lacking. Here, I'll award stars for their ability to keep you entertained throughout the entire product, including the cutscenes. Category 2. Immersion is the most important element in a video game. If you don't feel like you're part of the action, if you don't feel like you're in control, your game's messing up in one of the most defining characteristics of a game. If I'm watching someone else's story unfold, you might as well make a movie. Because of this, you might see a few RPGs faring a bit better in the system. But don't fret, I do have a balance out category, and the professional I'm pledging to be will not let these slip through the cracks. And that brings us to category 3, gameplay. In a video game, many could easily argue gameplay is the second most important quality of a game, and I'd agree it's a close third. The ability of a player to pick up the controller and maneuver their character in a fictional world is extremely important to whether a game developer is releasing a good and accessible video game. As many RPG players can testify, this means that a fair amount of RPGs will be balanced out by this category, as gameplay is a detail more often paid attention to in other categories of video games. Category 4. Technology is literally the heart of gaming. Without it, we'd still be drawing with sticks in the sand and painting on cave walls for entertainment. For this category, I'll be looking at performance on whatever platform I am running the game on, counting heat output, lag, glitches, and graphics towards the star. I will be sure to look up information for other consoles and platforms, just to try and keep you informed in this category, but I couldn't tell you for sure with the exception of my own experience. Finally, Category 5. Story and lore. Many of you might be a little curious as why I professionally am rating this as last on my list. Story and lore consistency are extremely important in any game, but the fact of the matter is, it is so impossibly hard for writers to keep track of every single detail and every single law of physics that I just have to be relatively lenient with this category. However, glaring issues like a certain Halo 2 ending won't be slipping through the crack. I will only mostly be looking at major events and critical points in this game's story to award this star. There it is. I hope you didn't fall asleep on your keyboard during this informative episode of N7 Journalism. And it's only fitting that our first video game review will be on Mass Effect 3, so prepare yourselves and be on the lookout because the Reapers are coming.